a dare to use a nipple as crocodile bait, to having your date finding this in your room.
What is it?
20 MTV shows, 20 disturbing moments. Let's start at the tip of the iceberg. Disclaimer. Level 1. 16 and Pregnant, 2009.
That's a crazy
MTV's
title.
16 and Pregnant from 2009 isn't exactly subtle about showing the hardest parts of teenage pregnancy.
Real.
Season 3,
I remember
episode
that
2
show.
with Jennifer Del Rio turns the discomfort all the way up. The episode sets the stage. Jennifer turns
Going to
16
Orange
and
Beach,
she's carrying
Alabama.
twins. She lives in Florida with her
Damn.
parents who have deep suspicions and maybe even outright hostility toward her older boyfriend, Josh Smith. The guy doesn't do himself any favors. Throughout the episode, he clashes with both Jennifer and her parents at every turn.
I can't choose
Damn.
between Josh and my parents, especially now, when I need them all more than ever.
But the real spiral starts after the
Damn.
twins are born. With Jennifer recovering from a C-section, Josh's behavior is anything but supportive. Viewers see him at his worst. In one jaw-dropping moment, he shocks everyone by picking Jennifer up right around her stomach, fresh from major surgery, during an argument outside his car.
Say goodbye to your kids, Josh. You will never, ever see them again.
Jennifer's parents,
God
painted as
damn.
overprotective but mostly reasonable,
Aw.
are disgusted. Josh's treatment of their daughter is bad enough, but Jennifer's choices make things even worse. The argument blows up after the twins are named because Jennifer gives them Josh's last name, a move her family sees as a total betrayal. The drama doesn't
That's
let
a
up,
show
even
too.
when
What a
Jennifer calls the
fool.
police after one of Josh's
That's
outbursts.
insane.
MTV captures Josh being cuffed. Jennifer left waiting with
MTV
her twins,
would literally turn anything into content back in the day.
and a family ripped apart by fighting that's all too real. Off camera, the fallout continues with accusations thrown in both directions and tangled in legal battles involving restraining orders and custody disputes. Many viewers
And
find it to be one of the
TLC,
worst
for real.
episode of the show.
Anything they can
due
make
to
a
the
buck off of.
on-screen physical. Room Raiders, 2003 to 2009.
Never heard of this
A
one.
cheeky twist on a
VH1.
dating show formula. That's how Room Raiders wanted to present itself when it aired on MTV from 2003 to 2009. Instead of conversation or chemistry, contestants were judged by what their bedrooms revealed about them. The format was simple. A so-called raider would sift through the rooms of 3 potential dates, opening drawers, peering under beds, and pointing out anything remotely embarrassing. What the show framed as innocent curiosity often felt invasive. A broadcast rummaging through
Damn.
someone's private life while they sat in a van, powerless to intervene. The beloved blacklight
Is that the
segment became
underwear?
a recurring gag where
The only teen pregnancy was Amber and Katie. I've never heard this one before.
a host
You
might
remember this one, Kato?
run it across sheets or furniture to hunt for, evidence. The Miami Gone Wild edition took things a step further when a contestant's mom was dispatched to raid 3 boys' rooms for her daughter. As she swept through with a blacklight, viewers got a front row seat to scenes filled with exposed stains and bodily fluids.
It's gotta mean that he's a little bit colorful. Banana? No.
But one of the most unsettling
Banana.
episodes featured a contestant
Weird.
named Jake, who
This is
visibly
so
recoiled
weird, I
after
know.
finding adult items in a bedside table. Oh.
All right, let's check out these.
Oh,
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get my spy kit for this one.
Oh no, not the spy kit.
The discovery wasn't treated as a private moment or an awkward misunderstanding. Editors slowed it down, added sound effects, and framed Jake's shocked reaction as comedy. The contestant's personal
What the
belongings, clearly
fuck,
intimate, became a punchline and televised to millions. It's
That's
difficult to see
weird.
the humor in someone's moment of startled embarrassment, but it was still turned into entertainment for
The
public
fuck?
consumption.
Why not
Looking
like
back,
hide
what
it?
stands
Yeah.
out is how
Why is it such
normalized the
a
intrusion felt. The show's charm
normal
was
spot?
supposed to come from awkward honesty. Oh, you can tell a lot about
Why
someone
have
by
so
their
many?
room,
Yeah,
but
what the
honesty
fuck?
came through humiliation. People were reduced to the contents of their drawers, the stains on their pillowcases, or a misplaced receipt. The narration encouraged mockery, and the audience was invited to join in. Even the contestants, stuck in the van watching their own belongings picked apart, were prompted to laugh along to survive the moment. There's no sense the show ever meant harm. Its tone was upbeat and its
Or
host
tackle
playful,
box.
but rewatching now, the bright pop
Bruh,
graphics and laughter...
You would need a lot of those kits to go through my house. It's gonna be a trippy experience. There's gonna be lots of trippy lighting. No matter how they didn't get on TV back in the
can't hide
day.
how invasive it all was.
They
And
probably
viewers
set
who
it
saw the
up
show as
for
teens
them
and
to
children
find.
now find it disturbing in hindsight. Fraternity Life, 2003.
I think
College-
the show would have been less weird if they weren't teens. Been through it clean as a whistle.
Prank gone wrong?
Fraternity
In
Life.
2003, MTV's Fraternity Life cameras rolled onto the campus of the University
views.
of California, Santa Cruz, following members of the local Delta Omega Chi fraternity. The show promised a glimpse into Greek life, brotherhood, rituals, and inside parties. But what it captured became one of the campus's most notorious scandals. During filming, two fraternity members of Delta Omega Chi, Matthew Cox and Casey Loop, stole a koi fish named Goldie, a prized 18-inch Hikari ogon from a pond at Porter College, one of UCSC's residential areas. According to police reports, the fish was herded out of the pond with a rake and slashed. Some witnesses even claimed
killed it?
Afterward, though that part was never proven. The koi, said to be worth up to $2,000, had been donated by a faculty
I hate
member
they
who
called
described it
that
as
Greek
the pond's
fishy.
shimmering centerpiece.
These are some fishy criminals, man.
When staff arrived the next morning, they found garbage bags, a knife, and an empty pond corner where Goldie once swam. The discovery ignited outrage across campus. The two fraternity members later turned themselves in and were charged with misdemeanor theft and vandalism. University officials said they showed remorse, even purchasing a replacement koi. But the damage was already done. It even made national TV news. The scandal then intensified after revelations that the group had been reprimanded just weeks earlier for misconduct. Rumors persisted that hazing rituals within Delta Omega Chi had gone even further,
They said they
including
barbecued
a reported
it, so.
zoo break-in tied to pledge challenges off campus. By that point, the fraternity's image had collapsed under the weight of its own
frat was
behavior.
wild enough.
Investigators found the group responsible, and the MTV tape was used by the prosecutor to charge them. The university made the decision to revoke its recognition permanently, cutting all official ties and shutting down its operations on campus. But MTV stayed quiet about the controversy. Critics accused the show of blurring authenticity with spectacle. Protests swept through campus and debates flared about whether Greek organizations belonged there at all. In the end, the result was a distorted picture of college brotherhood, part reality, part performance.
That's nuts. That's crazy. They probably did all that crazy, insane shit, like hyping it up for the camera.
You will. 2002. On MTV's I Bet You Will, contestants are lured by cold cash to tackle ridiculous stunts, usually the kind nobody would ever volunteer for outside of a dare. Seasoned viewers know the drill. The host spells out the rules, ups the ante, gets the crowd going, and then someone takes center stage for what's promised to be entertaining chaos. The first episode, Bet, shows a college girl eating her own hair mixed with butter for $100.
I'm gonna shave your head. After I shave your head, I'm then gonna mix your hair in with that butter. You're going to eat that hairball. For that, I'm gonna give you $100.
But after it aired, $100 that eating your own hair can lead to serious.
Notice how everyone was trying to have the Jersey Shore look. Yeah, no, for real. Why? Eat hair for $100? Ew.
Complications such as intestinal blockages and even death. In episode 9, the setup is plain and blunt. One guy is dared to withstand a wedgie, with everyone in the room clear that the payoff hinges on real discomfort, not just cheap laughs. Yeah, nothing cheap about those laughs. The host lays it out in a way that's half challenge, half warning. This isn't a playful poll, it's about being hoisted up by your underwear until you can barely stand still.
You get as many people as possible around here to give you a wedgie. Each wedgie that you get money for that wedgie. You can make some money for skid marks, man.
The moment hits
That's
quickly.
crazy.
He's grabbed and yanked upwards, underwear stretching, face contorting, and body jerking with every tug. The pain is undeniable, shown right there in his posture and turning cheeks. The
Oh,
crowd responds
damn.
exactly how you'd expect in this context, with loud cheers, laughter, and the undercurrent of shock that anyone would stick around for it.
It's gonna be sore for weeks.
But I bet you will. The show proves that people do anything for money.
The whole thing has
That's
a
crazy. That was
too
too.
far vibe. If you make it through the ordeal, you get paid, but the cost is written on your face and recorded on a video that lives forever on the internet.
That's nuts.
The X Effect.
How much would you have to get paid
2006.
per wedgie to do that? I'd have to get paid like 2,000 a wedgie. That was 2. You know what I mean? Like for me to be willing to do that.
Would you go on a
5.
TV show that would reunite
Damn.
you with your ex?
Fuck
the
no!
X Effect from 2006 took
Not
the
enough
voyeuristic
money.
thrill of reality TV and turned it into emotional warfare. The concept was simple but manipulative. Exes are put together for a weekend getaway while their new partners secretly watch every interaction. Cameras
What? They're doing that while they have new partners?
capture every awkward confession, every misstep, every flash of lingering attachment. It was less about closure and more about pushing people toward breakdowns. One of the most memorable examples of this setup devolving into chaos came in the episode with Natasha, her ex Amir, and her current boyfriend Kavi. Natasha once dated Amir before discovering that he cheated on her with her best friend Nada. The betrayal alone had already
Damn.
left scars, but MTV
Gee.
decided to reopen them for the show's entertainment value.
My relationship with Natasha, there was no closure. It was just, I met your best friend, I cheated on you, so I'm gonna get serious with her and not have any more sex with you is pretty much where the relationship died.
Natasha arrived at the resort believing she and Amir were revisiting lost history. Kavi and Nada were led to believe they were leaving, when in reality they were placed in a hidden room with monitors, forced to watch their partners interact. The producers framed this as a relationship test. What followed looked more like a study in cruelty than romance.
Since Amir cheated on Natasha, she tries to act nice in front of my face, but I know deep down it still hurts her.
Damn.
That's what kind of makes me worry.
Almost immediately, Natasha began to gravitate toward Amir again. She flirted, reminisced, and brought up old jokes. The cameras lingered on her every glance, slowly
That's
building
crazy.
tension. Kavi quietly watched from the hidden room as his girlfriend ignored the boundaries of their relationship right in front of him. The show had made him both powerless and
Who would agree
hyper-aware.
to meeting the ex in the
See,
first
but not
place?
intervene. The tone
Destroyed
shifted
his
when Amir
life.
casually admitted that he had been unfaithful again, this time to Nada with another woman. And that confession was broadcast directly to both women who trusted him, one watching in real time and the other sitting beside him.
Damn.
I'm so angry because that's not him. He would never do that.
The moment cracked whatever facade of reconciliation that remained. The confrontation that followed wasn't explosive, it was something worse. Silence filled the space between Natasha and Amir as she realized she had been chasing closure from someone still capable of lying like that. Kavi's expression, visible from the observation room, turned from disbelief to resignation. Nada quietly broke down off camera. The final reveal, when everyone was brought face to face again, wasn't cathartic. It was just raw awkwardness and shattered trust. Both couples dissolved by the end of the episode. And what made the episode
That's
so disturbing
fucking
wasn't the
nuts.
cheating itself.
Well, I
but
mean,
the
I
way the
guess
show
it's a good way to know that none of these people were right for each other. What up, Penn?
exposed these personal wounds in a controlled environment, turning emotional collapse into scripted spectacle. The producers didn't just document heartbreak,
Damn.
they orchestrated it. Too Stupid to Die, 2018.
What the fuck?
MTV's Too Stupid to Die from 2018 wastes no time in its premiere, Too Stupid to Drive, jumping headfirst into
That's one
stunts
way to
that seem
find
less
out.
like entertainment and more like warnings ignored on purpose.
Warning, the stunts and the pranks you're about to witness are performed by professionals. The producers insist that no one reenact or recreate any of these stunts.
This is like a knockoff
Viewer's
Jackass.
enthusiasm for mayhem is almost relentless. Right from the start,
Shut
they're behind the
guys.
wheel, blindfolded. Instead of safety harnesses or spotters, it's just a gang of friends shouting directions as the drivers
I
swerve
remember
with
this.
zero visibility, slamming on the brakes only when chaos edges toward catastrophe. Viewers are drawn into moments of genuine uncertainty, especially as the group's grandmother figure, Mima, is asked to
Yeah.
trust the driver with her well-being from the passenger seat, panicking as the
Thinking
car
the
misses
same thing.
scarecrows and barrels through the improvised course. From there, the recklessness only builds.
God
the crew tries
damn.
puddle skiing, a makeshift water sport that looks more like a failed science experiment in momentum and friction. And no experts, no life vests or helmets. The stunts
How the
operate
fuck would you
purely
need a
on
life vest for a
adrenaline and
puddle?
keep the camera rolling mentality. They're dragged behind a car, bouncing over potholes and cold water with speed and unpredictability.
This doesn't seem like Jackass. This seems like how much pain can you take?
Combining for maximum risk. In between, older houses and rooftops on rural
What up,
Indiana's
Moo Moo?
horizon set
Making
the scene
soup.
for another dare, rooftop jumping.
This is very serious. Any mistake can cost your life, someone else's life.
It's usually a lot more dangerous. You know, just buckle up.
The boys egg each other on to leap from one
Jesus.
rooftop to the next. No crash mats below, no professionals around, and a sense that anyone on set is just as
That's
likely to be the next
nuts.
one coerced into peril. The laughter is
We
loud,
sort of knew
but
they would
what
do- they
hangs
set
in
the stunts
air
up,
is
yeah.
genuine fear. But what sets this episode apart is how brazenly it documents these acts without a filter.
What up,
There's no
Kens?
pretense of professional stunt work, no lengthy warnings or reminders that these actions are never safe to imitate. Instead, every scene doubles down on a brand of entertainment that is risky for its own sake.
Yeah, my favorite part is just being able to do like the stupidest thing as possible and no one judges you for it whatsoever. I definitely don't recommend anyone do any of the stuff that we do ever.
The amateur production is the point. Viewers can see how recklessness becomes a kind of currency traded in for bigger thrills and bolder clips to share. MTV, already known for programs celebrating risky
Damn.
behavior, appears to be raising
still
the
like
stakes
Jackass
with Too
better.
Stupid to Die.
This one looks
directly
ghetto.
showcasing stunts that forgo safety protocols entirely. If anything, it celebrates the danger with every near miss.
Is
and
this
burst
show
of
still
nervous
going
laughter.
on?
For those watching, the message is clear. Maybe the rules never mattered, as long as everyone's still on their feet when the day is done. And hey, if this kind of video gives you an adrenaline rush, you might have just found your go-to channel. So go ahead and subscribe.
Fuck out of here with that
Level
ad.
3, Jersey Shore.
No
2009
way!
to 2012.
Keep our Jersey Shore out of
Airing
this.
From 2009 to 2012, MTV's Jersey Shore built its
Chris
reputation on
Angels.
chaos, drama, and the kind of reckless nightlife that seemed to thrive on confrontation.
Hold on.
Every night in Seaside Heights was a mix of excess
Gotta
and
hear
volatility. Crowded bars, flashing lights, and cameras waiting for things to go wrong. The moment that truly crossed the line came during the first season when cast member Ronnie Ortiz Magro got into a fight that would later define just how far the show went in glamorizing aggression. After a night with housemates Nicole Snooki Polizzi and Sammy Sweetheart Giancola, Ronnie encountered a man on the boardwalk who started mocking the women in the group.
Frey, come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Come at me. I'm right here. I'm right
Damn.
on the move. Come at me, bro.
We were there, chat.
Come at me,
We were
bro.
there.
Put your hands up, bro. Come here, bro. I'm right here.
The teasing escalated, and within moments, Ronnie hit the man with a single punch that knocked him out on the spot. The fight was captured on camera, aired
Damn.
unchanged,
We were
and
there.
immediately turned
We
into
walked
a
on that
viral
boardwalk.
moment. MTV even teased the footage in previews, marketing it like another rating stunt, not as a violent street incident. Ronnie's roommates ran toward him, shocked and exhilarated, clapping him on the back like he just scored a goal. No one seemed concerned about the unconscious man lying on the pavement. The reaction in the house afterward was the same. Laughter, adrenaline, someone yelling, "One shot!" echoing the phrase that would become
Damn.
the episode's title. Ronnie spent a few hours
Big
in
miss
jail,
back,
paid
for
$600 in
real.
bail, and later told People
Mm.
magazine that he didn't regret the altercation because he felt provoked.
I'm walking. They followed us and harassed us.
What?
You heard me. I'll repeat myself twice.
In legal terms, the situation was serious. He was charged
Damn.
with a third-degree offense for striking Stefan Izzo, who lost consciousness from the blow. Izzo claimed that MTV security
Wow.
held him back while Ronnie took the shot, a detail that made the incident feel even more staged, like violence had become part of the entertainment. Ronnie was
No
later admitted
way.
to a pre-trial intervention program. But there wasn't empathy or reflection, only celebration. And MTV
Damn.
aired it without apology. Wild Boys.
The crazy thing is, there's a lot of Jersey Shore episodes that are lost to time, and you can find them on YouTube here and there, different places. And a lot of the clips and the way they're edited and presented now are not how they were released originally. Isn't that crazy?
2003 to 2006. Packaged as MTV's most chaotic mix of wildlife documentary and absurd stunt show, starring
Oh my
Steve-O
God,
and Chris
Steve-O
Pontius,
and
two men
Chris.
who seemed determined to prove how far the human body could be pushed before breaking. Each episode of Wild Boys from the mid-2000s dropped them into another corner of the world, and they tested their limits not for money or competition, but because why
Crazy
not seemed to
show.
be enough of a reason. Audiences tuned in expecting dangerous
damn.
animal encounters and crude behavior, but every so
Run.
often the spectacle crossed into something genuinely revolting. One moment in particular stands out when the duo covered themselves in a vile mix of animal waste and live insects.
That's
The setup
crazy.
looked like a parody of cultural exploration. They
Give
were
me a
somewhere
scoop,
remote, surrounded
please.
by onlookers and guided by local handlers. But instead of observing local traditions, Steve-O and
spiders.
Pontius decided to participate in their own way.
What are they
Smearing
drinking?
themselves in filth under the guise of ritual immersion. What followed wasn't clever or symbolic. The pair were drenched in a foul concoction meant to attract swarms of bugs, their skin crawling as flies and other insects clung to them in dense clusters. It was broadcast with the same upbeat
What the
narration as
fuck?
always, which made it even more surreal. There was no cutaway, no relief, just two grinning men turning themselves into living compost for entertainment. Watching it came with
What the
layers
hell?
of disgust. First,
In
the
the glove
obvious
episode-
smell
what was
and
in the
texture
glove?
you could almost sense through the screen. Then came the realization of how unsanitary the whole thing was. They were in wild terrain, slathered in excrement, surrounded by insects that thrive in decay. Everything about it screamed infection risk. You could see
Yeah, but it's
Steve-O's
Steve-O.
eyes dart, unsure if this was bravery or stupidity. It was stupidity, Steve-O. Chris Pontius stayed in
Damn.
character, laughing in
It's so
disbelief like
crazy
man
that Steve-O's
too deep
still
into the
alive.
pit to stop now. Even within Wild Boys, a show built on pushing boundaries, this scene felt excessive. Fans were used to seeing them swim beside sharks, pet deadly snakes, or play soccer with dung beetles, but human waste and bugs crossed into territory few dared to imagine, let alone
Damn.
watch on repeat. It was reckless, unhygienic,
Oh, yeah, that's
and
pretty
deeply
gross.
uncomfortable in a way that bypassed normal gross-out humor.
Poop is not funny.
Acapulco Shore,
Thinks the same
2014
thing.
to
Steve-O
present.
is
Acapulco Shore, airing since
Acapulco? The
2014
fuck is
on
that?
MTV Latin America, became Mexico's
Oh.
version of MTV's chaotic Jersey Shore.
No
The show built
way.
its identity around excess and constant drinking, hookups, jealousy, and brawl.
Damn, Jersey
By its
Shore,
seventh
but
season,
Latinos,
Carnival Toda La Vida,
Latinos.
the
You
spectacle
know that's
shifted into
drama.
something harder to watch. The fights went beyond the usual drunken drama, crossing a line that left audiences stunned and questioning MTV's limits. The conflict between Danya Mendez and Manalik Main Gonzalez had been brewing all season. Both had been close for years, but televised egos and provocation twisted their friendship into open hostility. Cameras captured a night when things boiled over. Main and Danya got into a heated confrontation that escalated fast. Main's boyfriend, Joey Mendez, stepped in, supposedly to separate them, but what viewers saw was much rougher. He grabbed Danya, restrained her, and according to unedited footage that circulated later, dragged her across the room. The scene was quick but jarring, a visual that shocked audiences who were used to the show's volatility, but not to seeing physical control.
A couple years ago.
Social media exploded within hours of the June 2020 season premiere. Clips and screenshots spread online before MTV cut major sections from future broadcasts. Viewers debated what happened since editing blurred
the original broadcast comes out and then they release episodes depending on how it's received. They re-edit it and re-release it, and when they finally make the final posts of the seasons in Jersey Shore. That's it. We don't know what happened in the original Jersey Shores unless someone at the time was sitting around recording it as it originally aired.
Line between prevention and aggression.
Because even the day after seeing the episode,
he was trying to protect Maine, while Danya later told journalist Gerardo Escareno that the event left her shaken. She said she was pushed again during a later off-camera moment, which led to her sudden exit from the show. MTV's response was quiet but visible. Several episodes following the fight were abruptly shortened and whole altercations vanished. MTV Latin America officially cited standards against graphic physical conflict, but fans saw it as an attempt to minimize backlash. Despite the censorship, leaked footage began appearing online in 2021, showing parts of what had been removed. Screaming, chaos, other housemates trying to intervene too late. The network avoided direct statements about disciplinary action, and Joey remained part of
2 a.m. tonight? Oh shit.
After. The production's party culture sold
so get darker quicker.
Blurred into moments that looked like real violence. By the end of that season, both Maine and Danya were gone. MTV's later seasons featured heavier censorship and hired on-set security teams.
Damn.
Level 4. The Real
World.
Thanks
for reminding me, bro.
1992. MTV's The Real World built its reputation on unfiltered social experiments, locking strangers in a house and capturing every clash, impulse, and breakdown. But sometimes, those moments pushed past messy reality television into something uncomfortably real.
That hairstyle back in the day, chat. That dude, that hairstyle was always a hothead.
Television into something uncomfortably real. In the New Orleans version, the conflict between Preston O'Neill Robertson Charles and Ryan Leslie became one of the most revolting in the show's history. Their feud started with insult and revenge, but eventually became something serious enough to call
I'm
the
so
police
jealous
about.
you guys get to experience it in a real way.
Okay, and where are you, sir?
1633 DuFawcett.
Okay, and what's going on there?
Preston urinated on Ryan's toothbrush and used it to scrub a toilet, according to police reports from the time. Ryan didn't know until 2 weeks later after using the toothbrush daily. He developed a sore throat and fever, ended up at the hospital, and only learning what had been done to him when footage surfaced later. The object itself was confiscated by New Orleans police as evidence, but no charges were filed.
Damn.
MTV's cameras recorded much of it, even after Ryan escalated things by rubbing Preston's cigarettes along his backside. The show aired both acts in separate episodes, presenting them as if they were pranks. The entire thing felt grotesque, bodily contamination reimagined as reality TV drama. 3 years later, Real World Portland produced another infamous clash. Nia Moore's time in the house had already been tense, but her fight with Johnny Riley and his girlfriend Avery Tressler cemented the season as one of the
those were
show's
just nasty.
most unsettling.
Not like our funny prank war champ,
that spun out of control after Johnny threw an energy drink and toilet paper at Nia. Nia swung back, snatched up a blow dryer, and lunged at him. When Johnny locked himself in the bathroom, she waited for him to open the door, then attacked again.
Oh, damn.
Avery rushed in, pulling Nia's hair and landing hits in a desperate effort to stop her. Nia's face turned red from the struggle while producers kept the cameras rolling.
Damn.
The fight stretched on in chaotic bursts with shouts echoing. No one immediately intervened. Viewers later argued over who started it, but the disturbing thing wasn't who won, it was how long it was allowed to go on.
Yeah,
Avery and Johnny
I
eventually
remember.
left the house.
So you know when Sam and Ronnie have that big fight, and Ron destroys all her stuff, and the whole house gets involved, separating them, and like it's like Ron and Sam's worst fight. So apparently that fight was way longer, and they cut a ton of shit out of it because it was so just traumatic and aggressive.
Outs claiming they no longer felt safe.
What
The show turned broken boundaries into storylines, letting personal breakdowns and bizarre cruelty play out because the footage was compelling enough to air. Stranded with $1 million.
It's hard to stop.
2017.
And then they got
Begins as a
backlash in the
survival
original episode, and they
experiment, but
edited it
quickly
and
devolves
re-released
into
it.
something far more concerning. MTV's Stranded with $1 Million from 2017 gathered 10 contestants, then dropped them on a remote island with $1 million to share, forcing them to decide whether to spend that money on overpriced supplies or endure blistering hunger under the Fijian sun.
The 10 of you are now stranded on an island.
For 40 days.
And $1 million. Those of you who are able to last all 40 days will split the $1 million cash prize.
The show's tension doesn't stem from survival alone. It comes from the human mind under pressure. And nowhere is that clearer than in the infamous incident involving Cody and Makani. At one point in the game, their rivalry with fellow players Alex and Gina pushed them far beyond the game plan. Cody and Makani relieved themselves directly into the freshwater pool that both teams depended on for survival. It was a planned sabotage. Their goal was for Alex and Gina to consume the contaminated water, become ill, and ideally withdraw from the competition.
They tried to poison them with their piss and shit.
Not a huge deal. They haven't been able to drink much water. We'll see how long Gina and Alex can last.
The stunt was openly broadcast on television, framed as an act of strategy within a game about survival and greed.
What the fuck?
Behind the scenes was a different story. Producers were thrown into disarray when they realized what had happened. Kevin Lee, the show's creator, later called it a moral dilemma. The crew debated whether to step in or let the consequences unfold. In his words, "We didn't want to interfere in the game, but it was important that people remain safe." Still,
That's
the producers
crazy.
chose not to disrupt the game.
I would kill someone if they put piss and shit in my water.
Hundreds of yards away, trying to balance realism with responsibility. Cody bragged about his control over the situation when Makani justified their actions as payback against their rivals.
I don't really respect the way they've played the game, so I feel like it's time to do what they've done to me back to them now.
The others didn't quit. Alex and Gina endured dehydration, slept beside contaminated water, and carried on anyway, visibly weakened.
Yo, what up, Liv?
2005
Just live
to
your life.
2008.
So nasty.
MTV's Next survived from 2005 to 2008 on a formula that felt simple. One contestant, 5 daters, rapid eliminations, and the power to say next at any moment.
One bus, 5 daters.
Life right now, bro. You still not feeling well?
Careful what you do, because you may be next.
In one infamous episode, a contestant named Chris was nexted mid-date and responded in a way that would never make it past today's broadcast standards. After being rejected, he pulled down his shorts and ran after the girls, exposing himself on camera.
What the
moment was quickly
fuck?
cut from MTV's airing, but survived online in heavily circulated clips that spread across early video sites and forums. This turned into one of the show's most shocking off-screen controversies.
Yeah.
Even in its shortened
That's
form,
nuts,
viewers
bro.
saw
What the
enough to know
fuck?
something had gone badly wrong on set.
This is jail. No joke.
Another scene that drew backlash featured a male contestant threatening to next a woman unless she agreed to kiss him. Oh my god, girl, next yourself. Her hesitation
Did
was
she kiss
visible,
him?
but the cameras didn't cut. Instead, the tension was drawn out as if it were part of the entertainment. The audience was supposed to laugh, to view it as an awkward dating moment, and not a situation where someone's discomfort was being mined for reality
Hell
TV
no.
value. MTV's editing leaned into the pressure rather than stepping in to diffuse it, framing it as playful banter instead of what it really was.
And I know you did get hurt a little. You know, what if he did take the girl? I was really idealizing the situation a lot, and I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Ultimately, the show's concept of being able to
Damn.
instantly reject people created a mean-spirited tone disguised as humor. It
He
opened the door
deserves
to
Go Save
coercion
Her
and
Turk.
encouraged contestants to take advantage of each other. And ironically, it made real emotional connection impossible. Next.
That's crazy, bro.
Level 5. Ghosted. Love Gone Missing. 2019 to 2021. Hosted by Rachel Lindsay and Travis Mills, the show followed people who had been
Never heard
ghosted
this
and
one.
brought
Oh,
them
no.
face to face with the person
Oh
who
shit!
vanished. MTV's Ghosted, Love Gone Missing aired between 2019 and 2021,
It's so funny
selling
to
itself
me.
as part reality series, part emotional reconciliation show. But what MTV called closure, critics called a public invasion.
Hi, Rachel and Travis. I really need your help.
Wait a minute. I was not ready for that.
One episode
They're
from
like
season 1 featuring Russell and
off-brand, like
Destiny
Neve
encapsulated that discomfort.
and Max
Russell
from
had disappeared
Catfish.
from Destiny's life after she told him she was pregnant.
I mean,
2
for
years
some
later,
reason.
he sought to find her again through the show, claiming remorse and a desire to reconnect with both her and the child. But when the host contacted Destiny, it became clear she wanted nothing to do with him. Now she was the one disappearing, deliberately not responding, possibly protecting herself from the same dynamic that had hurt her before.
We were contacted
This
by
one.
Russell.
I find that very interesting, being that he's been ghosting me for a long time now. I don't have anything to say to him.
The producers followed Russell as he
Damn.
justified his intentions. His face was filmed in emotional close-ups as he described wanting closure.
He's from
His pursuit
2005.
played out
It
as
is
a
an older
sustained campaign
show.
to be heard regardless of whether Destiny consented.
When I can't seem to
Eventually,
remember
Destiny was
anybody.
convinced to meet him on camera. But what followed was not reconciliation, but unease. She appeared guarded, with her expression tight and her body language screaming discomfort. When he talked about doing the right thing, the moment carried an imbalance. The exchange
Damn.
captured the show's central flaw, its insistence that confrontation equals resolution.
The reason that I've been ghosting you is because there is no baby. I had a miscarriage.
No, Destiny, please don't play with me.
Online viewers described the sequence
Damn.
as manipulative,
Oh, no.
even cruel. Commentators accused the network of turning distress into spectacle
There's
and
Catfish. We can
normalizing
watch some
behavior
again
that
soon.
crosses emotional boundaries. Others pointed out that rather than therapeutic dialogue, the confrontation risked re-traumatizing someone who had already chosen silence as protection. The unsettling part wasn't Russell's persistence, but the whole system enabling it. A network dressing intrusion in the language of
That's
healing,
crazy.
and being tone deaf enough to broadcast the entire thing. Catfish, the TV show.
No!
2012 to 2025. Catfish, the TV show, built its fame on shocking.
I will say this, chat. I have heard and I have seen I've seen some pretty compelling proof that a lot of Catfish is staged. A lot of it is staged. They edit it a certain way, dramatize a certain way. A lot of the episodes.
Confrontation, but some episodes genuinely unsettled viewers. One case that still gets talked about is Season 4's Felicia and Jacqueline, where a woman named Tracy Barbie made Felicia's high school existence miserable using fake accounts with Felicia's own photos.
Movie was
Tracy
good though, I
messaged
think.
Felicia's
Speak of
friends,
the
posted
devil.
disturbing content, and spread rumors for years, blatantly taking credit for the pain she caused. She even admitted that she liked seeing others hurt because she'd been bullied herself. When the show's hosts found her, Tracy was almost cheerful about her copycat fish antics, openly delighted at the chaos and
Ugh.
notoriety her trolling brought. She was never
What's
really
reality? That's just
remorseful for the
evil.
emotional distress she caused and was seemingly unable to grasp how destructive her actions were.
If I were to
Jeez.
press harassment charges, that could very easily be taken away from you.
It's true.
It's true. Oh my gosh, you guys are scaring me.
You should be scared. You should be really scared.
Fast forward to season 5's Lucas and
Yeah.
Manny, and the situation levels up from trolling to
So
targeted
icky.
systematic predation. The man behind the profile, Zach, wasn't focused on one woman. He lured hundreds, crafting stories and weaving elaborate deceptions.
Jesus.
Each woman recorded and archived through personal photos like he was adding to a collection, like a serial killer.
That's
When confronted,
fucking
Zach was unnervingly
disgusting.
casual, brushing off the confrontation and referring to all his
Childish.
targets as part of an experiment. Nothing about his demeanor suggested regret.
Jesus.
To him, the entire process was a detached game, and even as the victim count piled up, he simply shook it
He
off.
was
To
weird,
him,
so do
they were
I.
more like trophies than people.
Why are you smiling? You have no emotions whatsoever.
That's not the right thing to say. You guys need the truth. And if I don't feel sorry for something, you need to hear that.
Yeah.
In season 6, Ari and Lanham moved the
Damn.
show into even darker psychological territory. Marcus, a much older man, deceived multiple younger women by
Yeah.
pretending to be someone else, sometimes
Creepy as
proposing a
fuck.
deeply committed future. Even when he was exposed, he showed no real remorse. His pattern was clear: targeted connection, manipulation, then proposing grand gestures that crossed serious lines with vulnerable targets barely
Damn,
old
poor
enough for
girl.
such conversations. No empathy, no sense of boundaries, just a persistent chase for attention through online manipulation, regardless of the harm he caused. But for many, season
That's
8's Paul and
nuts.
Kaitier was the show's most unsettling episode. Paul's youthful online romance with Kaitier lasted years, but the reality unraveled into something much more troubling. He'd been speaking with Martha, a woman in her 40s, and the mother
What
of the girl
the
in the
fuck?
photos. Martha used her own daughter's images, apparently sharing them without consent, and targeted not just Paul, but other young men as well. The situation grew creepier
That's
with
nuts.
indications this deception began when Paul was quite young, while Martha's own daughter
Come
only
on,
learned of
that's
the betrayals
insane. That's
years after.
wild.
I was the one doing the catfishing.
Interesting, man.
It started because I was in a really bad place in my life and I was extremely lonely. I just wanted someone to care about me.
Martha admitted to using the daughter's private
God.
photos for online attention, exposing how catfishing can quickly spiral into deeply
That's
disturbing
wild. The
territory.
mom using your own
Are You
daughter.
the One, 2014. Marketed as a social
That's
experiment.
fucked.
Boy, these creeps love calling this stuff an experiment. Disguised as a
Experiment.
dating show, Are You the One premiered on MTV in 2014. 20
I've never
singles
seen
moved
this
into a
one.
tropical house guided by the formula the network claimed could identify their perfect match. Oxygen-fueled parties, shared rooms, and endless cameras turned into a mix of chaos
I'm
and
back. I
competition.
just took my meds.
But in March
Yeah,
2021,
you guys know that that's like a formula of reality shows is they pump extra oxygen in the house. Same thing like they do with in casinos and stuff.
the show's facade of fun and flirty escapism cracked when Gianna Hammer, a former contestant from season 5, shared what she says really happened behind the walls of that house in 2017. Hammer told the Daily Beast that she'd been prescribed an antidepressant
believe
before
it.
the show began filming in the Dominican Republic. Her doctor had warned her not to mix with alcohol, but that line blurred under MTV production.
That O2.
Cast members
Oh
were
yeah, it can get you
constantly
manic.
drinking, and one night, after she got into an argument, 3 producers pulled her aside. She says they gave her one of her pills despite her protests that she shouldn't take it. Other contestants later said they heard her repeatedly saying she wasn't supposed to take it while drinking, only for producers to insist it was fine.
Damn.
Through comprehensive interviews, compatibility tests, and personality metrics that come together in an algorithm that identifies your perfect match. Wow.
What followed was a blackout. Hammer said she later woke up unable to
Damn,
recall much.
that's fucking
Producers told her
nuts.
she had gotten into bed with a male contestant and that others had dragged her out after hearing her say no. She was told nothing happened.
What the
Shocked and
fuck?
disoriented, she was asked if she wanted the man removed from the show, but producers allegedly discouraged it, noting that sending him home would be a logistical hassle. He'd already flown out, been tested, matched, and filmed. Their compromise was to let him sleep on the couch and cut off both of their access to alcohol. Hammer claims they also made her
What
sign
the
a
fuck? It's so
confidentiality
scary.
agreement
Hell
and
yeah,
warned
Sammy.
witnesses to stay silent. Tierney Todd, another participant that season, told the Daily Beast she saw the male contestant on top of Hammer that night and helped pull him away. She said it was obvious something was wrong. Hammer was barely responsive, her eyes were open but not focused.
Just having a great time, and we did explore each other in an appreciative manner the other night.
His heart isn't with her. Just wait till after this show. Just wait.
After the show
That's
aired, Hammer stayed
crazy.
quiet for years.
Who was it?
In 2021, she broke the silence through TikTok and interviews, saying the story had haunted
Crazy.
her. MTV responded by halting production of Are You the One and launching an external investigation, also pulling her season from streaming platforms.
Damn, they must have really
Level
fucked up
6,
then.
True Life,
Must have
1998
some really.
to 2019.
Damn, that's a
Built
long.
by its reputation for tackling bold, sometimes deeply uncomfortable topics, the MTV series True Life aired from 1998
That one
to
aired for so
2019.
long, I never heard of
Most
it.
episodes followed real people wrestling with addiction,
It
body
didn't
image, or
happen.
mental health, inviting viewers to peer into lives often ignored by mainstream programming. But controversy overshadowed the show when True Life, I Am a Sex Offender aired.
Sex
In
offender?
that episode, MTV chose to profile two
Either-
young men fighting to be removed from the National Registry, a move that stirred
interesting.
instant debate. One of the featured men
That's
had a relationship
creepy.
with someone 3 years younger to him. He was 18 years old. Because of how the laws are written, his life changed overnight. Homes off limits, strict curfews, and a label that followed him everywhere. The series
Damn.
paints his story with unexpected softness. Camera angles linger on his distress, editing choices build emotional tension, and the on-screen counseling session invites the audience to empathize with the weight of his daily restrictions. Nowhere does it confront viewers head-on with the permanent harm
Damn.
that inspired those laws, or even the gravity of the act itself. Instead, the focus is all on how hard life is for him, leaving viewers to question where sympathy begins and accountability stops. For some, the show felt like a reversal of roles. Rather than spotlighting victims or legal consequences,
Give me
MTV
some
delivered a
coffee, it's
narrative
coffee
that risked
time.
encouraging viewers to excuse or minimize one of the most
Sex
widely
offenders is
condemned
bad, so
behaviors
common,
in
it's insane.
society.
Yeah, a lot more
Critics
people are
describe
sex offenders than you think. You definitely know some and are friends with some, and you would never really think unless you checked or
the
they
episode
told
as
you.
disturbing because of how little time was spent addressing the tough reality behind statutory regulations. The teenager's remorse, family struggles, and social alienation were underlined repeatedly, turning his crime into a story of bad luck.
So
The underlying
insane.
tension was clear. Is it right to humanize those whose actions have such lasting impact, especially when accountability is barely raised above the surface? The episode lit up message boards with accusations that MTV was framing perpetrators as victims of circumstance. One commentator
Damn.
called out the show for focusing on the registry's harshness rather than exploring the deeper,
It needs to
more
be harsh
uncomfortable
for a
long-term
reason.
consequences of the offense itself.
That's
Bully
crazy.
Beatdown, 2009.
Bully Beatdown.
MTV's Bully Beatdown from 2009 to 2010 was one of those reality series that blurred the line between
I remember
entertainment
this.
and exploitation. Hosted by Jason Mayhem Miller, it claimed to offer victims a sense of closure by confronting their bullies who were paid to fight professional MMA athletes for a shot at $10,000.
That's
The
crazy.
concept sounded cathartic on
remember.
paper, a televised form of justice where those who once tormented others get a taste of their own medicine. But beneath the flash of the cage lights and the cheering audience, the show walked into ethically murky territory, especially in episodes where real injury and human fallibility broke
That's
through the
crazy.
spectacle. Season 2's premiere, Brandon the Line, captured this more than any other episode. Brandon, described as a former high school bully, entered the show radiating arrogance. Before stepping into the cage, he recounted how he once lifted one of his classmates, Alex, by the ankles and threw him across the gym, laughing about it like it was a prank.
Brandon thought it'd be funny to pick me up on my ankles and throw me like 15 feet across the gym. Just because I'm not as big or as strong as him, he thinks he could just treat me wrong.
That moment ended with horrifying consequences. Alex's friend Sean was caught in the chaos and suffered a broken arm, an injury that even years later affected his daily life. The harm had already been done, and MTV was packaging it as a prelude to entertainment. Eddie Alvarez was chosen to take Brandon on as a seasoned MMA champion. Watching the bout, it's clear the match wasn't balanced, not even remotely. Alvarez's job was to teach Brandon a lesson, but the setup itself was troubling. A professional athlete pitted against an untrained man made for visually satisfying TV, but also crossed an ethical line. Each takedown and submission made viewers question the morality of it. Audiences were invited to cheer as a man was physically broken down. The only difference was that this time the bully was the target.
Appeared in the background check at the gym recently.
Didn't really win much beyond $10,000.
Registered weapons,
the format never solved anything about the psychology of violence or bullying. It only transferred the pain from one side to another. In Brandon's case, he eventually apologized, but it was hard to tell whether that came from regret or exhaustion after being dominated in the cage.
Damn. We got fucked up.
2007. Scarred was an MTV reality series that aired in 2007, built on the raw and often horrifying clip culture of the internet before it had any real filters.
Damn.
The premise was simple. Viewers submitted footage of their own crashes, mostly skateboards, BMX riders, and amateur stunt performers, followed by first-hand stories of recovery. But what set Scarred apart was the aftermath. Each episode leaned into the damage, literally replaying broken bones in slow motion and interviewing participants who could barely believe what their bodies had endured. The show's most talked about moments often came from skateboarding, a world built on risk, repetition, and pride. In one especially graphic clip, a skater went for a handrail grind that ended in a way no one could forget. His board slipped, driving the underside of his body into the rail before his entire weight folded forward, face first into the concrete. The camera caught the split second of the fall, then the rolling aftermath. Teeth shattered, blood pouring, and the kind of stillness that made you wonder if he'd even move again. When he finally spoke in his Scar Story interview, he described the sound before the pain, the echo of the impact, the disbelief before it all went black. His injuries were extensive.
Horrible.
Broken teeth, torn tissue, and months.
Yeah, that's why I don't do that kind of
skateboarding.
skateboarding.
Solid food again.
I just be rolling around.
My wrist kind of shot out. It was dislocated and broken at the same time. And now I have a bone that pretty much sticks out. Probably will never go back into place.
In some episodes, writers show the medical hardware that now lived inside them. Titanium plates, steel pins, long scars stitched across arms
People love
and
watching
legs.
shows eat it
MTV
though. Oh
leaned
yeah.
into the extremity of
I
it,
do.
often
I don't like
warning,
seeing
but
bones
rarely
snap.
pulling back. It's the kind of content that makes people look away even as they hit the replay button. Level 7. The Challenge, The Inferno.
Lords of Dogtown. What is that?
The Challenge, The Inferno aired in 2004, long before reality TV was under the kind of scrutiny it gets today. Contestants weren't only pushed to climb, jump, and hang, they were pushed to the edge of their nerves in every episode. But one moment from
Reality
season 8
TV
still
used to be
stands
even
out
more
for being
crazy than it is
genuinely
now.
disturbing. At first, it looked like a normal competition. Julie and Veronica were on opposing teams, both trying to score points.
Skating movie.
But then Julie started tugging hard at Veronica's harness. Castmates below screamed for her to stop, and you can even hear Veronica yelling, confused and terrified,
"What is she doing? What are you doing?"
The footage shows Julie gripping at the straps as if she were trying to pull her opponent loose. The height combined with the frantic energy created a scene that crossed from intense gameplay into genuine fear. All that separated
Is that not
Veronica
like
from a
attempted
free fall
murder?
to joined with the straps is
What are you doing?
confused and terrified.
What is she doing? What are you doing?
The footage shows Julie gripping at the straps as if she were trying to pull her opponent
What
loose.
the
Height
fuck?
combined with the frantic energy created a scene that crossed from intense gameplay into genuine fear. All
Gonna
that
say the
separated
same
Veronica
thing.
from a free fall was a web of safety clips and cables, and in that moment, none of it felt secure. What made it worse was the reaction. The camera cuts showed others on the ground frozen between disbelief and panic, some with hands over their mouths. Even the production crews shouting through megaphones didn't seem to calm things down. For several seconds, the show didn't feel like entertainment anymore. It felt like a documentary clip of something going very wrong. When the challenge finally ended, there was no slow fade out or celebration, just raw tension. Veronica's voice shook as she told Julie off, saying she'd never felt that kind of fear before.
Did I feel unsafe? Yeah, certainly. Like, we're in the air, 18 floors above ground. Yeah, I'm scared. Accidents can happen.
Afterwards, fans called it the scariest moment in the challenge's history. Some viewers still describe feeling sick watching it back years later. Julie herself later spoke about it, saying she had no malicious intent, that she just thought tugging was part of the competition. But many who saw it didn't buy that explanation.
Nah.
The incident gained such notoriety it earned her a cruel nickname among fans, thriving across interviews and social
She's
media
catching hands.
threads
Fuck
for
that. Oh yeah,
decades.
I'm mauling.
The footage remains online today, circulated in retrospectives and fan compilations under titles like "Julie Tries to Kill Veronica." It's been discussed in documentaries and is still cited whenever reality TV gets too close to causing something irreversibly real.
I like how they're about to do stunts and they were all holding beers.
2000 to 2001. What is this, just a summary of all the previous shows? Oh no, Dude, This Sucks was an MTV variety show pilot taped in early 2000, meant to capture the chaotic humor of youth culture, but what actually happened during one
Jimmy
of its
Kimmel?
acts ensured that the show would never air. It was filmed at an MTV event in Big Bear, California, where Monique Garcia, 13, and Kelly Sloat, 14, were attending with friends. They were told by event staff to stand near the stage for a performance, given no reason to expect what would follow. The act was a duo called the Shower Rangers, dressed like scouts. The
Shower
skit began
Rangers?
harmlessly enough, a parody camping routine, but quickly devolved into something unthinkable.
One of those ideas was for a game show called Dude, This Sucks. The contest would have two team captains who choose volunteers to act out their talents for 45 seconds.
The men on stage pulled down their pants and released a stream of excrement directly toward the crowd without warning, showering the nearby audience members, including Garcia and Sloat, from head to toe. Garcia later said,
What the fuck? What the fuck kind of game show is this? Dude, this sucks. Oh. Ew.
said she couldn't understand what was happening until the smell hit her, describing how she started gagging as she looked around to see her friends covered as well. She realized moments later she was too. Sloat, who was a year older, recalled being mocked afterward by classmates who had heard about it, saying the humiliation lingered
A bunch of
far
grown
beyond
men
that day.
pissing on
The pair hadn't
13 and a
volunteered for
15-year-old?
anything grotesque. They were audience guests at a mainstream network taping and had simply followed directions from the crew. Crew members had even covered cameras with plastic tarps before the act, suggesting that the people involved in production knew the act's contents but chose not to warn the audience. MTV's president of programming, Brian Graydon, admitted the incident happened and called it a terrible mistake.
I'd be pissed.
He
No pun
publicly
intended.
apologized, promising the footage
Very
would never
pissed off
air
than
and
pissed
describing
on.
it as unintended. MTV said they were unaware of what the performers planned to do and vowed to prevent anything like it from happening again. Garcia and Sloat, represented by attorney Gloria Allred, filed a lawsuit accusing the network of battery, negligence, and infliction of emotional distress. The case made headlines not only because of its grotesque
I guess they were
details,
staying
but
on the
also
edge of
because
the show and they were
Dude, This
right
Sucks,
there.
a lost MTV game show that shot at two 13-year-old girls.
an MTV shoot with production professionals present where something so degrading happened in plain view. The event destroyed the pilot's future instantly. MTV confirmed that Dude, This Sucks would never air under any circumstances. Brian
Damn.
Graydon's statement ended it plainly. It was a mistake that never should have happened, one that hurt real people for the sake of shock value. So yeah, it really did suck. You know what doesn't suck? You
Then
for
9/11
sticking around
happened.
until the
That's how
end
people
of the
forgot.
video, but it is the end. However, if you want more of this kind of, go over.
Damn. And TV's had some pretty fucked up shows.